Hey guys, it's Jessica with Roundtown Candle Co. Coming back with another video today. This time the scenery is a little different. I'm actually sitting in my RV. First of all, it's just cozy and I'm a little bit sad because, camping season is over. So I come out here just for a little peace. But also I have like 4 teenagers in my house right now. So probably wouldn't be very good try to make a video with all that going on. So as you can see behind me, tea lights burning. I love to burn the tea lights in the camper. I think they're like the perfect size and it just adds that nice touch. So anyways, so this video is going to be kind of focused more on when I transition from the fact that I enjoy making candles and I've found a candle that I love to actually turning it into a business. So, like a lot of people find things they like to do and it's just sort of their little side thing or like just a little hobby or maybe, just make candles for family and friends. Honestly, I'm not even really sure exactly what point I just decided like I'm going to start a business because I've never started a business before, never thought I would have a business. So I guess the more I started to look into it and think about it, I realized what it could become. And if you see me looking off to the side, like I have like my little list to try to stay on track because I can already feel that this will take me all over the place. So, so I started looking at like, all right, so this can become a business. Like I can turn this into a business and then see, will it grow? How big will it grow? What can I do with it and all those things. So I think the very first thing that you encounter is you have all that fear and doubt and it's like you want to talk to everyone, you want all these opinions, and really what it is you just want everyone to tell you, oh, that's an awesome idea, you can totally do this. But whether it's self-doubt, whether it's maybe you got haters somewhere, or maybe people that really care about you but they're just concerned that maybe it's not the best move in their opinion. So I sort of felt all those feelings in the beginning. But my husband, as I've mentioned before, he has his own business, which he's had for almost 30 years. And he is, of course, the first person that I went to with this idea. And he's all on board right away. He was just like, okay, all right, so tell me how this is gonna go and how are you gonna make these and sell and all this stuff. And he's just like looking at it in that respect, just the actual functioning of the business. Like, how are we gonna do this? What's your plan? And he is 100% got my back all the time, and I love that. He's so supportive and he was so encouraging right off the rip. Like he was just like, you've got a college degree and you've got experience with my business and just all these things, and he's like, you can totally do this. And I thought, okay, this is my person. I'll gladly take opinions from others because it's always nice for people to share how they feel about stuff, but ultimately horse blinders are on and I'm just going to stay right where I'm at with him and we're going to do this thing because like I said, you get that doubt that creeps in, or people will say, well, candles, I mean, you can buy candles anywhere. Like the candle industry is so oversaturated. All right, well, maybe it is. This brings the second point. You have to, first you have to figure out like, what is your product going to be? Like, it's not just a candle. What is your purpose for the candle? What is your brand? Because I feel like if you're going to create a business, like anybody could just make and sell a product, but people buy products that they can feel some kind of a connection with, that they know a backstory to, or a purpose for the business, or the giving back, or whatever it may be. So you have to think like, why? What's my why of doing this? why take such a big step in life? Why? So look at your why. Think about what your brand is going to be. You have to think about, when people say like, well, what makes you start a candle business? You don't want to be like, well, it just seemed like a good thing to do. I mean, when you can come right out and you say, I love candles, but I can't burn them. They give me headaches. I've battled this problem forever, and I just really wanted to solve it, really wanted to be able to put out a good product that I feel good to sell and know that it's in other people's homes, and that it's not making them feel bad. And so then people are like, okay, yeah, that's that makes sense, that's really cool. So you got to really build your brand, whatever that is. And then I think the next thing, and the most important thing before you actually go, is you've got to do your due diligence. And guys, this isn't just about candles. This is any business that you want to start. You have to really know all the ins and outs. You can't just be like, all right, candles, okay, we're going to sell them here and do this, let's go. That's not a good idea to fly by the seat of your pants on something like that. So you need to study the product itself, and you need to find you want to obviously put out the best product. You need to look at the economy, how are economic changes potentially going to impact my business. You need to look at things like just the market overall. Okay, so the candle industry is pretty heavily saturated because you can buy candles all over the place. Like, they are everywhere, all different styles, brands, all that stuff. So no shortage. But when, I start to research and I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that the candle industry is like a multi-million-dollar industry. It has been growing for years. It is projected to continue to grow for years. So yes, there are a lot of candle makers. There's a lot of candles out there that can be purchased, but there's also a lot of buyers, because if you've got an industry that is growing and growing and growing through all kinds of economic changes over all kinds of years, then with a pretty good amount of certainty that somebody is going to buy your candle. Now, I'm not trying to sell to everybody, because I physically can't, but I know that that there is a desire for that. There's a following for that, and if I can capture a crowd, an audience of people who appreciate what I'm doing and like my product, then I know that I'm going to be okay. So again, studying the market and changes in the economy and how things are going, and just all that stuff is super important before you decide that you want to just go ahead. So then you get to that point. You've got your support person. You have looked at what your product wants, what you want your product to be, what you want your brand to represent, and then you go through and you do your due diligence, and you research and you study and you look at everything, and everything's making sense, and you're like, okay, next step. Well, the next step, so looking specifically at candles, and again, a lot of this is kind of universal to like any kind of a business or undertaking, but this is specific to candles, this part. So you obviously, when you have a business, you have to have insurance. I am selling a product that people literally light on fire in their homes. So you have to have insurance, you have to have protection, you have to make sure you follow all the rules. There's actually a National Candle Association. That is a real thing. Back in 1997, they're all of a sudden they're aware that there's like all these fires being caused by candles in people's homes and businesses and all this stuff. So they're looking at it and they're thinking like, we've got a problem, So this association has formed, and they have set guidelines on, your product and your jars and all the safety stuff, to make sure that you're compliant, to keep it as safe as possible. So, warning labels are required on products that are sold, which, you kind of figure that. And do people flip the jars over and look? I don't know. Probably most of the time not, but it has to be there. Your label has to contain certain information, and I never knew this, but this is true. There are label standards, so your label has to have it has to have an identifying an identifier on it. So it has to say candle somewhere on my jars. So when I say Round Town Candle Co., that's my deal. It's a candle. You have to write where it is made. So mine at the bottom of my labels say hand poured in Circleville, Ohio. You have to have the net weight in ounces and grams. These are requirements. So these are things that I would have never known had I not taken the time to do the research, to look into everything, and just, make sure that I'm dotting all of my I's and crossing all of my T's. So, there's really a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that went into it for me. I think because I do have business experience, and I have, obviously my husband who is well versed in that area as well. It helped me to be able to go through each step one at a time and really kind of go into each thing and spend time there. And make sure I felt confident before going on to the next step. So, and then ultimately you have to look at too, there is a financial standpoint too, because, you've got to purchase all the product, you've got to get everything set up, and you got to get everything ready. This is assuming you've already got your business formed and, you've gone through all that stuff. So, and then you have to look at, all right, still, fear creeps in. Am I doing this? Should I be doing this? Is it going to work? Am I going to be good enough? Is this going to go? What if it goes crazy? Then what do I do? But I think, overall, it's just, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Okay, the worst thing that can happen for me is I'm going to put all this time and energy and my money into it, and it'll fail, it'll flop, and I will probably be embarrassed and disappointed, but that's it. I'll be embarrassed and disappointed, and I'll have all this stuff in my house, and everyone that I know and care and love will get candles at literally every holiday and occasion, probably forever. So that's my worst case scenario. Now what's my best? That's what you have to focus on too. Okay, so obviously the best is that this thing is gonna do awesome. I want a brick and mortar at some point. I want to be able to have people come into my store. Working on that, that's obviously going to take a little bit of time to figure all of that out. But you have to have plans, but you also have to be able to just sort of roll with the punches, because you just don't really know. It's a lot of best guessing. So, if you get into a point where you want to start a candle business or any business for that matter, I think the most important things are finding your support person. Doesn't have to be your spouse. Can be a friend or, a coworker or just anybody. Anybody in your life that will be that person that will be able to encourage you, and support you, but keep you grounded, and sort of, somebody you can just bounce ideas off of. There's been times where I'll be, just all of a sudden like, hey babe, what do you think about if I were to do this? And just, it's nice to have that person. So, find your person, find your purpose, do your research, and then just take a deep breath. And, if your worst case scenario is not something that you absolutely can't live with, then just go for it, because this is really exciting. It's really fun, and I'm just like, I love it. I find so much joy in this. I love that my house always smells amazing. That when I have, you know, the kids have their friends over, I have teenage boys coming in the house going, oh, can I smell these candles? And it's like, okay, if teenage boys are coming in here and they're like, oh, cool, you know, what scent is this? Then I'm like, that's kind of cool, because, you know, usually they're just like, you only see them when they're hungry. So, you know, it's an awesome experience. I'm so grateful for it. I hope it continues to go. I hope that maybe my videos can be helpful to somebody out there who's thinking about starting a candle business or any business, or just, you know, wants to watch something different, I guess. So anyhow, that's enough. I will be back again next week with another video, and until then, I hope you guys have an awesome week. So I'll see you later.